Hello and welcome to the Oracle Television Network. This is Unspoken, and it is my prayer and hope that you are doing well and faring on well. My good name remains to be WANGUI GACHANJA, and we are shooting here courtesy of Tides Hotel, Nakuru. Tides is a prestigious hotel that you can walk in. We have food, we have entertainment, we also have spacious and awesome rooms for you. Just visit Tides Hotel if you're in Nairobi, if you're in Eldama Ravine, if you're in Nakuru. We are in the CBD of Nakuru City. Karibuni sana Tides, and we are doing this show, The Unspoken, in Tides Hotel or Tides Restaurant, Nakuru. With me today, I have a friend, a mentor, a sister, and we're going to talk on something that I love and something that most of us have walked through, have been through, and maybe some of us do not have the manual on how to do this thing. What am I talking about? We are going to talk about parenting. How does parenting come by? What is it that we do right? What is it that we do wrong? What do our children expect from us? What is it that even the society is doing wrong and should do right? And with me, I have Anne. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Probably you can introduce yourself and tell my audience what you do.
Thank you, Wangui. Hello, viewers. My name is Anne Mochemi Jogona, a counselor psychologist. I'm a mother of 3. I'm a wife to one husband by the name Livingstone Jogona. I reside here in Nakuru. I do counseling to young people, to mothers, but particularly I love teenagers. Teenagers is what I do in church. That is whereby I am known as teens teacher. Asante for having me.
Wow, karibu sana.
Thank you.
Teens is a transition from childhood to now adulthood.
Yes, yes.
And this is where we have all sorts of problems.
I know.
And this is where we lose most of our children.
Yes.
But now, even before we get to teens,
yes,
we have the pregnancy period, which probably we may not talk about it. But now we have this child that we have brought to the world.
Yes, yes.
From zero day.
0 day. Yeah.
0 day.
Yeah.
So what am I supposed to do as a mother or as a father?
Yes.
To this young being?
Oh, that is good. A good question there. When you get pregnant, especially for the first time, I believe that motherhood is a journey that all of us, we took that time to feel that we are carrying a life. And one thing I usually tell mothers, that we are the progression of God's creation, that God gave us a gift to carry a life. And carrying a life, then we have a duty to nurture. When you are nurturing that pregnancy, from that time that you realize that you are pregnant, you took care of yourself. And for those who are married, we also went to our husband telling them that we are craving for 1, 2, 3. It is because of the happiness. And when that child was born, remember you have that duty to nurture this child. Therefore, we took care of them so much. We held their heads. We took care of their backbones. We were there feeling good, breastfeeding, and all that. So at this stage of 0, I call it a stage of oral, the oral stage, whereby the child is there. You want to breastfeed this child each and every moment. When the child cries, it is the only message that he gives through crying. They want to nyonya,
the first thing you do is breastfeed.
Yeah, you breastfeed. And at this time, nurses and doctors are guiding us, parents, that it is always good to ensure that we breastfeed up to
6 months.
Up to 6 months.
Yes.
And we are happy about it, especially with our firstborns.
You follow everything to the letter.
You follow
that
everything.
The doctors have said.
You never even missed clinic. You are there taking time in the internet just to understand how you should do as a mother.
Yes.
And it was a good feeling, and it was a good thing.
Yes. So actually, it still is.
Yes.
Because every other time, even when you have your second, third, and fourth child, you always remember of the first time.
You do.
Yes.
And then firstborn are loved, and you feel that you gave them all the love.
Yes.
Of which, by the time you are getting the secondborn, you still feel for your firstborn.
Yes.
But that there is competition that have come in.
Yes.
So your question was that what are we expected as parents? And what we are expected as parents from 0 to 1.5, just keep feeding this boy, this girl, just keep showing that this person, the world is lovable. The world is lovable. It is at that stage where you don't nyonyesha this child, the child feels like the world is not welcoming. The world is bitter.
It's a harsh place.
The world is a harsh place for me. But when you breastfeed this child, the child feels that this is the best place. When that child cries and then you run, the child feels the center of attention is on this child. The child feels loved. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So what happens to that time? Because at times we fail to feed these children or these kids, not because we want, but because of the circumstances. So what happens to that kind of a parent or that kind of a child? Sometimes we have postnatal depression. Sometimes we do not just have enough breast milk to feed our children. Sometimes we have children who are just withdrawn. What do we do about that?
Okay, what do you do about it? Remember, this child is not a child that you can discuss with that, mommy, daddy, I don't have enough milk. Seek services, seek help from your friends who have experienced motherhood. They'll tell you what to drink, what to do, how to handle this child. But never let your stress, never let what you are going through be transferred to this child. This stage of especially 0 to 18 months, we call it a stage of trust versus mistrust. If the child does not trust you, wakati mtoto analia then nini huyu, the child starts like the child does not you are now giving this child what a trusted person cannot give. You really need to create trust. That time that you are nurturing, let the child know you. And at this stage is whereby visitors come, and then when you give a visitor to hold for me this baby, the baby cries. Why? That baby doesn't know any other person.
They only know the mom or the dad.
You. So and when
most probably it's the mom.
Yeah, the mom. So you have to ensure that you nurture this trust very much. But if you nurture mistrust, and then the strangers is also a mistrust, then this child becomes like a burden to himself, and this child cannot talk, she can't cry. Now the child is just numb. And that is whereby you start now creating what we call the traumas in little ones.
All right.
Yes.
We are a working nation.
Yes.
And actually, of late, we see more women being career women. And it is also affecting how we are parenting our children. So I understand that I can be able to breastfeed my child fully for 6 months, but I'm still working. But what will you advise at what age should I leave my son or my daughter comfortably and say, now this is a good child, I can go for a day or two?
Okay, as long as you can have a house girl. And what I always do whenever I'm employing a house girl, I have to ask this question: do you really love kids? Have you ever taken care of a child? You must understand that you are bringing a figure of yourself, especially as a mother, a person who loves this child. But what we are doing wrong as career women, we want them to work extra hard on other house activities, but therefore they now neglect one duty of which it is helping you to nurture this child. So, for these days, we have at least pumping of milk, so you can have enough milk in your fridge. And then we have talked about having a caring house girl, a figure of yourself. And then time is never enough. We create time. We create time. That time that you come from work, you come out from work, have time with your child. Be there and let this child understand that mommy is here, who truly and 100% loves me, than even the other figure of yourself. That is the house girl. So give full attention when you have that time.
I think we have really measured on the mother.
Yes.
Between the 0 to 18 months.
Yes.
So what is the role of the father?
The role of the father is also there, but as I gave you an introduction of nurturing, nurturing is for moms. Very, very, very for moms. Maybe if you can remember, when you gave birth to your first child, daddy was there looking like looking this child as a delicate item,
and knowing almost nothing.
Knowing almost nothing. When the baby cries, he was like, "Oh, mtoto analia. Where is Jimmy? Amefanya nini?" and all that. But they are also given the paternity leave. Those are the men, so that they can also bond with the babies. Those things that they do, they make the baby happy. They are very good in that. They are very good in that. So they also create a bond. And the child usually knows that there is a man in the house who comes whenever I'm crying, whenever I'm disturbing mommy. He is like he
there
wants.
There is always someone else to help.
There is also someone else who is there to protect mom, that I should not disturb mommy so much. Yes.
So my dear viewer, I hope you have now understood, because I have seen we women at times, we are really sad and angry and bitter that this man is not helping me take care of this child. We have been told and taught that the role of nurturing belongs to a mother. It is a woman who nurtures, because she is the person who has actually bonded more with this child for the 9 months in the womb, and now you have brought this child. You're the person who should breastfeed this child exclusively for 6 months. After that, there is actually, we also advise that when you're starting to introduce your child to feeding, it's a mother who should introduce that child to feeding. Now, we have seen this, you know, we are Africans, and Africa is our business. We've seen cultures where, sijui nitasema ni kunyonga, they feed children in scary ways. What do you say about that? Because I once employed a house help who will close my child's nose. Jesus. The nose is closed and the mouth is now. So how do we go about this? Are they cultures? Are they? I even don't know what to call them.
There are some who believe in those, but when I say that you must introduce the self you, even in this house girl. Remember, everything that this house girl does should be guided by you. We have our worries, we have our fears as mothers, and then we have never gone to clinics and we are told that this is the best way to feed our babies. So we should always be professional. Don't follow what doesn't make you feel comfortable. Always follow your instinct. Tell your house girl whether she comes from where, whatever they used to do, now she is in your place. What makes you happy, what makes you comfortable, that is the rule that you will follow. Sometimes you tell these house girls that my house, my rules. My nurturing, your style. So whatever I tell you, kindly do it, because that is what I'm comfortable with.
So we have talked of 0 to 18 months.
0 to 18 months. That is where you create trust in your child. Because that child doesn't know anyone else. They always cry whenever they see strangers. So create that trust. And it is okay for this child to cry whenever they see strangers. It is an indication that your child hawezi ibiwa. It is a good thing.
Yes.
They can cry all the way through, even to the stage. And then mothers will be like, why is that child crying? Mtoto, ay, wacha tuchunguze.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
All right. So
yes.
it is a trust stage.
Yeah, it is a trust stage.
All right. Now we have moved from 18 months.
Yeah, now we have moved to 18 months. The child now goes to another stage whereby this child has started crawling, wengine wanatembea. Children usually walk maybe between, even some from 9 months, 9 months, 1 year, 3 months, 2 months. It depends. Children cannot be compared according to the milestones.
Yes.
So when this child is now between 1.5 months and to 2 years to 2.5 years, that child now goes to another stage, a stage we call autonomy. Autonomy is another word for freedom. Give your child freedom, freedom to explore. Sometimes counselors call it a stage of curiosity. They want to see, kwa nini inawaka, kwa nini inachoma, what is this? They want to touch everything, they want to experience everything. So give your child freedom in a very watchful way. Kwa hivyo, as a parent, ensure that dangerous items that child cannot reach. If it is in a kitchen, make sure that the knives, the sharp objects are far away from your child. If it is a palace sitting room, you also have maybe steamer, the sockets, and also the uncovered wires. Keep them away.
All right.
Because without giving your child autonomy, without giving your child freedom, this child, you give something else we call shame.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Whenever you always tell your child, don't touch that, then the child feels like it is very shameful to touch. It is very shameful to do this. Your child is always in one seat, shows that this child, yes, ako nyumbani, but she does not have freedom.
Oh, yes.
Imagine when that child will go now to school going, atakuwa aje. If you cannot get freedom at home, how will you be in a stranger's house?
All right.
Yeah.
And I know very many people are young parents and are following this program, and I hope that this program is becoming of help to you. We have looked at the first stage that we have called trust stage, 0 to 18. We are now looking at the second stage that we have called autonomy. This is the stage of freedom, and this is where most problems begin, because we don't want to see our children playing around. We want our houses spotless clean, but you are not prepared for that journey. Remember, we are at Tidy's restaurant. We are located here at Nakuru CBD. This is the Unspoken. With me, I have Ann Moshemi. Please do join me next week for this amazing talk show. We continue next week on autonomy, or giving children the freedom they deserve. Keep communicating to us on our Facebook page, on our YouTube, on our SMS lines. I am WANGUI GACHANJA.